So Google Translate is the worst. I am quite happy about that phone call. Basically, long story short, if things play out properly after that call, I should be picking up at a minimum, I would say like probably 1, 2, 3 students, probably into September or something like that. But I think it could potentially lead to a lot more than that. So crossing my fingers, I think it'll probably work out well. I'm pretty sure it will. And even though it doesn't necessarily affect my goal of like finding 10 new students in August, obviously it's still a very, very positive development. Salut!
Salut, ça va?
Oui! Ça va, ça va, ça va, ça va. Et toi, ça va? Also, slightly related, but also unrelated. I picked up a payment, I just picked up a payment now, or rather collected a payment, or rather received a payment, that's the word, received a payment from a customer that I wasn't fully expecting. I tried to sort of throw something out to see if it would stick to the wall, and it stuck, and I was like, nice! So it doesn't help on the student front in terms of number of students, however it does help on the cash front, so yay! Very exciting! So Google Translate is the worst. Like if you're in university, if you're studying French, Spanish, any language university, the 2 links that I sent you, so Lingui and Word Reference, those are like the 2 go-tos. What's nice about them, Lingui, so actually I'm gonna do a screen share so you can see this. But the best thing is it gives you what's called external sources. So what it'll do is it'll find the word need in a variety of different online websites, and it'll show you that sentence in context with the full link, and then it'll give you the French version of that website, how they translate it on the website. Now, some websites might have not great translations. You have to always look at what website it's coming from. After Lingui, I then go to Word Reference. The reason I like Word Reference is because, I'll stop sharing the screen, here we go. The reason I like Word Reference is forums. So let's say you go into Word Reference, I'll actually do this right now, and you search need, okay? Gives you lots of words and lots of context, as Lingui does, but then at the bottom, there's forum posts from people who have asked, like, oh, how would I use need in this specific context? And odds are that someone's asked the question you're wondering about. And you can see like a real native speaker has gone in and like typed their answer.
That's really cool.
So I always use Lingui first, I check the word, I check the sources, this one looks right, then I'll go to Word Reference and confirm if that's right. And then usually I go 2 steps further, or well, 1 to 2 steps further. Then I'll usually go to google.fr and I'll search the word that I found that I think is right, and I'll see if there's French articles I find on google.fr to see if that's like really a word people use. And then if I want to go even further, I'll go to YouTube and YouTube it, if it's a YouTubeable thing, to see if people have used it in their YouTube videos in spoken speech. That's my like system to make sure like every single word that I find is the right word. That's my system usually. Because you don't know in dictionaries. You don't know, right? You teach English. I'm sure people come up with all sorts of weird ways to say things. Yeah. That's what some dictionary said.
That's true.
So. Hey Instagram, want to update you guys on something I talked about roughly a week ago. So I'd said approximately a week ago that I want to go plus 10, so by 5, in terms of new students in August. So essentially to find 10 new students in August. As of right now, I just officially closed off 1, and then I have another 1, 2 that essentially should happen 100%, like 99%. So essentially we're at 3 on a goal of 10, and we're roughly 33% away through the month. I'm about 30% of the goal, so it's slightly behind, but in the range of where it should be, especially because I've never tried to go plus 10 in a single month before. That's way more than normal. 大家好，我是 AZREN， 中文名字是蓝天。今天我要录一个中文视频，因为我觉得7月的时候我上了一个intensive Chinese course， 就是一个很长的汉语课。这个汉语课以后我决定了我想录更多的汉语视频为了练习我的中文吧。
I want to ask how long did you take it to learn Spanish and French? And can you tell me which website that you learned Spanish and French from? And thank you very much. And yeah, thank you.
So for me, when I learned French and Spanish, interestingly, I didn't actually really use any websites per se, or at least not a ton. The bulk of my French, well, let's start with French. The bulk of my French was actually learned going through school. So I did all of my education in French from the age of 5 years old, or almost all my education in French, because I live in Canada and we have school systems that are called French immersion schools. So the schools where we go through our education in French and not English. So the majority of it was learned through that for French, but then I also lived in France for a while, and I also majored in French when I was in university. So that's sort of how I learned French. Spanish is slightly similar. I started Spanish when I was a teenager, probably 16, 15, 17 years old, somewhere in there. I studied it, lived in Peru, lived in Chile for a little while, and then I also majored in Spanish in university. So I still use some online resources for French and Spanish, but not a ton, like 95, 96, 97, 98% was done just through like school and like traveling and talking with people in my city and studying and just very boring sort of systems and methods and everything. Now, in terms of different resources, that's something I definitely still can talk about. So some of my favorite resources, my favorite one that I've used a lot is called italki. So it's the letter italki.com. It is a website as well as an application for your phone. It is a phenomenal website for a couple of things. Number one, if you want to find an online teacher, you can often find online teachers at pretty affordable rates. Part two is, let's say you don't want to pay for a teacher. That's not really the direction you want to go. You can actually find language exchange partners. What that means is you can actually sign up for the website. It's free. And you can say, I speak English, I speak Spanish, I speak French, I speak whatever, I speak Japanese. I am learning this language. I'm learning French, I'm learning Spanish, I'm learning blah, 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 blah. And you can find people who speak the language you are trying to learn and who are learning the language that you already speak, if that makes sense. You can use the website, you can exchange your Skype contact informations, and then you can actually start to practice with each other on Skype. And it can be a really great way to learn. Other resources that are really good, there's an application called HelloTalk, great for your phones. Really good application you can use to find language exchange partners as well. It is also free. Other resources I like as well is, personally, I like to find, there's lots of textbooks you can find online for free oftentimes, which is really great. So you can actually teach yourself a lot of things using a textbook online. YouTube is a phenomenal resource for most languages. Just literally search blah, 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 blah lesson, or blah, blah, blah English lessons, blah, blah, blah French lessons, Spanish lessons, whatever language you're learning. YouTube is phenomenal for that. And then obviously in your own city, depending on where you live, you can probably find a lot of resources in your own city using websites such as meetup.com, so meetup.com, again, meetup.com. You can often find groups in your city of people that are trying to learn the same language as you or the same languages as you. Often you can find like international student clubs in your city where you have people from different countries, and you can potentially find someone who speaks the language you're trying to learn. You can take university courses, college classes. There's lots of different resources, right? Online and offline. You can travel to a country. You can save money for a couple of years, travel to a country that speaks that language. You can try and work abroad in different countries. So that way you can actually, if you get the work visa, you can actually make some money while you're there. So the point of the story, as you guys can tell, there's a lot of options, right? The point of the story is that there are 1,000 options to learn a new language, right? But the thing you definitely don't want to be doing is sitting there going, what option should I choose? What should I do? Well, no, and I'm not saying you're doing that, by the way, just so you know, but some people do. They sit there and they think about it, but they don't actually take any steps. They don't actually they don't actually go and pick a system or pick a class or pick anything. They just sit there thinking about it, which means nothing actually ends up getting done. And so my biggest recommendation is literally just get on Google, start to Google online sites to learn a website. Pick one, start using it. Or Google textbooks. Pick 2 or 3 different strategies you want to use. Who cares if they're perfect? And just start using them. And just start doing things, and you will start to see different progress. So anyway, thank you for that call-in. Thank you for listening. And that's going to be probably the only audio for today. But I will see you guys tomorrow. So anyway, I guess I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. So anyway, have a good day. We'll chat soon. Bye.